Right, Julian, that was a bit of a mad 25 minutes getting some of this stuff together.
Yeah, well done. We've got a whole smorgasbord here of some brilliant, finely smelling super products going on.
Well, you know, these are products that we all see in a day-to-day life that some are going to raise more questions than others.
Yeah, sure.
And, you know, let's hope, give everybody the answers that they're looking for.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I mean, let's. I think we should start with a really simple one. So let's look at the humble hot dog. So this is a great, the hot dog is referenced in the FSA technical guide.
Yes,
it says,
is,
if you've got, so this is an open packaging, so it's partially packaged, it's placed on a tray, it's presented to the customer, which is fairly typical of a hot dog bar. And then the customer will add onions or sauces accordingly. At that environment, that catering environment, the operator will have a clear sign saying allergens, intolerances, ask a member of staff. You can then ask a member of staff if this contains a particular allergen, and the obligation is there by the caterer. So that is standard allergen rules and regs.
It is, and
so labelling, what happens,
I think it's good to point out, that. Give your staff some confidence, give them some backup, give them some training. You know, they're the front of your company, and if they don't know what they're talking about when someone asks a question, then it's perceived the company doesn't know what it's doing, and that's bad for everyone. So empower your people, give them some training, you know, and let people make decisions based on what they're being told.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's fantastic, because whilst we're focusing on labelling, we should always remember that allergen management, making Britain the best in the business of allergen controls, does start with people, does start with training, and the empowerment word is great, because do you remember back in probably early college days when, your first induction at work, picture that, and then the health and safety guy saying, right, health and safety, it's everybody's responsibility.
It is.
And actually the same applies here. So if you as a member of staff, we're all good at saying, that's health and safety, that. We've all been brought up like that. So if we're confident enough to refer to anything deadly serious about a fire extinguisher propping a door open, we should be just as confident to say, I'm not too sure about the allergen contact, I'm going to ask him, I'm going to ask a colleague, have that confidence, have that empowerment. And it's incumbent on employers to make sure that staff are on the ball. But it's the wider allergen culture is still absolutely.
Well, we talk about food safety culture.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you know, it's bringing that allergen culture in as well.
And all this dialogue now for one product, and this is our easiest one, which technically doesn't need a label. However, what if you got you're in an environment where you've got chill counters, hot counters. Think of a sort of service station. It is grab and go.
It is.
Some products like that, and think of like a wrap panini or a burger or something similar, a hot dog. These can sometimes be in a sort of ambient state or in a chilled state. You buy them, take them to the till, and the operator says, should we zap that for you in the combi microwave? So now that's in a sealed, there could be a time there where that is a pre-packed for direct sale product, isn't it?
Yeah.
So a traditional hot dog serve will be as Exhibit A with no label. Equally, if that product is for grab and go, because it is already hot, and that takes us back to the culture of grab and go, take from a display stand, go to till, no communication, pay and go, where there's no engagement. So that sealed, that whole composition of a hot product that's ready to grab and go is PPDS. Whereas we would normally appreciate a hot dog in a roll, that's kind of served to order. That's just a convenient tray that normally comes with hot dogs.
Yeah, again, it's that partially enclosed, isn't it? You know, that raises the question. Yeah,
exactly. and in the true sense of the words there, this is a product that, without altering a touch in the packaging, you can change, you can alter the product. So therefore, that doesn't fall within PPDS. Hang on, that was the easiest one. Ooh. I know, that's the hot dog one.
Well, shall we go for something that's a little
more
tricky,
products to look at?
A little trickier.
Okay.
Because it can be served in two ways.
Right, okay.
Let's take the humble fruit pot.
All right, now then, okay.
Lidded or unlidded?
Yes, and this is just a hot topic. So, I mean, where do we, if I can just pick that up, Rob. I mean, if I think of some primary schools or schools I go into, you'll have a plastic one of these, or a melamine, or tend not to be china or glassware in a primary school, but so you've got a reusable pot or a disposable pot. So 50 customers will normally opt for the fruit pot or yogurty option.
Yes.
So the caterer who's preparing 400 meals every morning, he'll have those prepped. So they'll all be on the, if you like, the cold counter.
They'll all be on the tray, ready to go in the cold counter.
Yes. So, and then when the customers come through, they're literally coming through, they're being served their main course, and then they can just take their fruit pot. Or so really it's the first impression that it's mise en place, and it's just getting ready for that rush. It's part of the lunch service. So logic tells me that's just been prepared and served ready into a portion. Am I right? Or what, do we need to be labelled? It's pre-packed for direct sale. You know, it's been prepared on the assumption nobody's ordered it yet.
Yeah, I mean, there is the argument that if I haven't put a lid on it, it can be altered. But
okay, yes, yeah.
But am I serving anything that can alter it?
Yeah.
Am I serving any cream? Am I serving, any sauces, or etc.?
Does something else come with it? So it can be altered. Similar with ketchup on a hot dog. So we're bringing in a bit of a principle there. So there's a few things there, isn't there? There's the idea that it is prepared for direct sale. It hasn't been ordered yet. It won't be until the customers come in. The caterer is doing it because it's portion control. It's hygiene. It's the way to have these prepared. So you'd think that's just a preparation argument, but looking at the law, the technicality, is that an actual PPDS qualified item? And as you say there about having a lid in it or not, what sort of difference does that make? I'm not 100% sure. The thinking is that it's the scenario, isn't it?
Yes.
When is a chef doing a mise en place and preparing for a flow of customers coming through, and that this affects everything, isn't it? And is that pre-ordered? Anyway, we'll come back to that one. So there's pots, and we can bounce quickly on to, if we're looking at full-scale chiller units in all types of places. So a high street sandwich bar, anywhere with
furniture stores, for crying out loud.
Furniture stores. I mean, wherever there's that grab and go section. So a retail part of catering, a student union, student restaurant, high school. These are very, very popular. Great portion control, great hygiene. Now, if these are in the chiller unit, all part of the grab and go culture, that is definitely pre-packed for direct sales, isn't it? Because it literally, the engagement there with the customers to grab, to till, very little oral communication, pay and go. List of ingredients are on there for reference, so that customer they can then interrogate that correctly. So what else have we got here?
Well, we've got a range of products that here, these three products, your sausage balm.
Right.
And I'm using balm because we're up north.
Right.
All right. You've got your
sausage in a bab.
You've got your jacket with coleslaw, and you've got your burger.
Right. Okay. Brilliant. So, I mean, if you're using this as this is your serving plate, I'm at think of a restaurant chain that has a bit of a barbecue side to it. So you're engaging with the server, you're ordering your double sausage in a balm, whatever that is. This is the packaging we use. You've got that engagement. So that's a loose food scenario. We're not expecting that to have any kind of label on it, because that's just the container used in that particular setting.
But if I close that,
right,
and I've got it in my hot cupboard in my education establishment,
right, okay,
for my kids to come in.
Hot display.
Yeah, hot display.
So think of grab and go again. So it's ready to eat.
Yeah.
So it's PPDS, ready to eat product. It's hot. Nothing wrong with that. Hot display thing.
That's it.
The operation there is to grab, go to till,
and off
pay,
you go.
and off you go again. Limited engagement. Right. So we're now talking PPDS.
Yeah. And again, that happens
with
a multitude of these products.
It does, yeah.
That can be in the same environment but served two different ways.
Yeah.
You can go and order it, and they'll say, that'll be 2 minutes because I've got to cook it.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, yeah, exactly. And
they turn around and go, there you go, sir.
Yeah.
Have a nice day.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So it's not that clear cut. So there will be occasions when you'll see some products with a label and some without, which could be a bit confusing. But sticking to the principle and what this is all about, it's grab and go. This is pre-done. It's hot. It's in a normal packaging with a label. That makes perfect sense. If it's served and you're asking the server, can I have 2 sausages on there? That's delicatessen communication where it does not need labeling. That's purely there for, that's how it's served.
Yeah.
And the same goes with, you can have a similar principle with jack potatoes, which are hot. They have a filling.
So if this jacket potato was in a hot cupboard
yeah,
with the lid on, but the condiment, the addition,
yeah,
was in a chiller bar at the front.
aha, coleslaw, for example.
Yep.
Yeah,
So they come in, they grab and go with the jacket,
yeah.
but they're then opening it and putting their topping on.
So now you're altering the packaging there. Aha. So if they were displayed like this in a row, where the packaging is open, a bit like the hot dog, so you literally are picking this up, and then you're going to, it could be a separate little cold pot of coleslaw or something.
Yeah.
So you're actually altering that without interfering with the packaging. That's not PPDS.
Right.
So that information would need to be available through clear sign at the
Normal
counters. Yeah, ask for allergen intolerant information, speak to a member of staff, and that information is available on the allergen matrix. So, okay, so there is a correlation there between how we serve in our food service operation
Exactly.
and what is PPDS.
And I think that's what a lot of people, are struggling with, especially some of the calls that I've taken, where people are saying, well, it might be ready or it might not be ready. So do I have to have two different operations, on the go? And you can quite easily, look at some big high street burger chains, for instance.
Yes, yeah.
Where you go in and, you place your order and it's turn round, pick it up, put it in a bag and go.
Yeah.
Or they say, sorry, I've got to cook it. It'll be 3 or 4 minutes. Chicken shops, etc.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, that's, so in reverse order then, that's a call order delicatessen communication. You go in there, can I have a burger with cheese? It's done in front of you, a couple of minutes. It's served in this type of packaging. That's loose food, contained for takeaway. That follows then the traditional allergen requirements, which is to ask about allergens, have that engagement. Whereas, so...
if you've gone in and placed the same order and they've turned around and picked it out of a hot cabinet,
and that's...
because they were expecting the rush.
Yeah, and I must admit, I do feel for that, the classic fast food chains where they know they can predict the breakfast rush, they predict the... and so you've got on your hot shoots behind you, you've got pre-prepared 20 of these, 24 of those, all your definite sellers. So that's the caterer being forward-thinking. He or she knows what's going to go in that rush. So mise en place is preparation. This wrapping a lot of it tends to be this wax paper as well, which is it's not an easy material to label as it goes. So
heck of a job to get a label stick to some of them.
So how does that work? And that's something we need to perhaps come back to the Q&A bit again.
Yes.
But in the meantime, it's that's a bit of a dilemma thing. So you feel for those operators getting a bit prepared, but once that's in that hot plate, nobody's ordered that product yet.
No.
So technically, it's pre-packed for direct sale.
Yes.
So that's a discussion then on how that is packaged. If I'm just trying to going off on a tangent now, allowing that business is a really acutely well structured. And what I mean acutely well structured is that normally in a busy kitchen, some of our supply comes in, it's a different product, we have to change our allergen matrices. If we've got a really rigid system, so it's the same meat, it's the same lettuce, the same bread, the same cheese, the same content for that burger. So, and that's pretty much 100%. It doesn't get to the shoot unless it's from the approved supply chain.
Well,
that operator, that operator can mass produce labels, could even do it on the actual wax paper. The only thing you need to add there perhaps would be the use by date.
Yeah.
So if you've got an absolute consistent product, you could think, we can mass produce labeling here and have this as our production. And we've got to have quality systems in place to interrupt that if there's a change of ingredient.
Yeah.
So that's a real...
I mean, you're going back to the labels now, we'll talk about it in more depth very soon. The types of labels, the configuration of labels. Can it be handwritten, for instance?
Yeah.
We'll answer all that a bit later on. So, Julian, you talk roughly about manufactured products there.
Right, yes.
Secure supply chains, making sure everything comes in.
Yeah.
This morning, my sauce has turned up. It
Yeah.
isn't the same one.
Right, okay. So you've just printed 400 labels.
Yeah.
You've got all your prep. Your allergen matrices are bang on, and now and it's interesting. So if this was your allergen matrix for your front of house, your main core food service, then you'd have to check the label. You'd have to change the allergen matrix for just check that it hasn't changed the allergens, for example. However, for PPDS, it's the full ingredient list, so it's even more of a humdinger if that were to happen. So that literally then is a huge expense.
Yeah.
And the industry is plagued with this type of costly mistake, which is easily done. So
I mean, even the manufacturing experts get it wrong.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. Yeah.
The FSA itself, you know, their alert system is plagued.
Yes.
You know, with leading manufacturers having to have a recall.
Yeah, and then that's followed up with all the retailers then pinging out recall notifications, doing the right thing. You know,
Yes,
it's
obviously.
I mean, it's a lot of it is a little bit of mislabeling. The products themselves, they're good, they're wholesome, they're clean, they're tidy. Such a shame, especially when it's related to beer. When that's mislabeled, it's perfectly fine. It's down a drain. It's extremely sad.
Wow.
Yes.
You've mentioned beer.
I have mentioned beer.
So
first time today.
I have been known to frequent a sporting occasion.
Oh yes. Tell me more.
At a certain interval, I might go to the bar.
Right. Yeah.
And I might ask for a little libation.
A libation. Very nice too.
The member of staff will turn around and pick it up from the back.
Oh yeah. Seen this.
And hand it to me, and I think to myself, how long has that been sat there? It looks as flat as flat.
Yes, and then you notice then the whole bar's got 30 Guinness, 20 Carlings, 10 ciders, and you think, well, okay, everybody's rushing in, and it's this action, isn't it? So they've been sat there. That's a huge one. Yeah. That's a huge one. So what you're saying, that's pre-packed. That has been pre-packed before being offered for sale.
I can't alter it before I get my lips around it.
No. So that's another one. That's another good one for our Q&A at the end.
Especially now, you know, with the advent of the craft lager.
Yes.
And it is important to highlight to everyone that whilst we're talking food, alcohol, normal drinks,
beverages,
anything, you know, anything that can be consumed,
you
know, that is fit for human consumption, you know, is going to come under this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
and obviously there are manufacturing labelling laws, etc., in place. We understand that, and you know, that's that. But it's just raising questions, putting thoughts in people's mind, and giving people the answers.
Yeah, and I think that's spot on there. We should always remember it's not just food. So we talked fruit, we talked yogurts. Think about any other liquid base. So your hot soup, that's on a not a massively big thing, because hot soup is a bit iffy. But any liquids that are pre-packed.
Smoothies
and smoothies, and we a lot of great B&I caterers, certainly in city centres. It's extremely popular to have homemade smoothies. It's put into a reusable bottle, and actually I've seen this on a few occasions where it's in a reusable bottle, and so that needs to be labelled with the product and the allergens. Now it needs to be completely labelled with a full ingredient list, and as a little curveball today. A little curveball.
Oh, we like a curveball.
Where we see some products which will have it's a homemade setting, but you've got a straw, and this straw could be sort of slightly attached with a bit of glue, or it's part of the whole presentation. There's some great new straws out there. So we're moving away from plastic straw. I think we've got some paper straws, and cleverly we've got some straws even made out of a pasta base. So, which is cool, very eco-friendly. Brings into the question about, you know, other food materials that are now being used for disposables.
Yes.
So another question there would be, if you are serving something with an edible straw, so that would be probably a pasta type based straw. Yeah. So we know there's wheat in there, but there'll be other ingredients. But if that's all part of a takeaway PPDS, then the obligation would be, if we're labeling those products, would be to have a subsection, straw.
Yeah, for the additions.
And then likewise, I know a lot of paper straw manufacturing. Sometimes we'll use starch or some materials in the manufacture of that. So there's a food element. So let's not go off on a million tangents today.
Just, it'd be nice to stick to.
It would be nice to stick to the plan. Yeah. But if there are anything edible straws, cups, plates, bowls, biodegradable, compostable materials, just think about it. Hopefully we're on to something that's going to lead to nothing. But just beware, if it's food and it's in packaging, and if it's edible or it's coming into contact, okay, we'll save that for an advanced labelling 2024. We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, your point though, that pint, that several pints there, is pre-packaged, it's partially packaged. It can be altered without changing the packaging. That's such a odd set of words to understand, isn't it?
I wouldn't alter it because I like my lager.
You wouldn't alter it at all.
I don't want to dash.
You don't want a dash, or you could have a dash if it was self-help. But yeah, let's put that on our list of Q&A for later.
Okay,
yeah,
no
good
problems.
point. Excellent.
So the other one is, and this is perfect example again, and we're talking lid on, lid off.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a technical little loophole that some people are trying to expose.
Yes. Yes.
But this is something that we see quite a lot of. You know, the muffin enwrapped in a wax paper.
Yes. So sometimes these are okay. This is a very elegant example here. You'll have muffins.
The best for this show.
Well, I've got to say, and you made this yourself this morning, Rob?
Yeah.
The Rob Kitchen, very good. So this, as it stands at the moment, you'll occasionally have this baked, then wrapped accordingly in a decorative wrapping. It could actually be baked in the wrapping. So you think of that type of production for cupcakes, muffins, etc. So what is that then? That's it's partially wrapped.
Yeah.
So therefore, it should have a label. However, can you alter that without touching the packaging? So we're in another dilemma point there.
Yeah.
So
depends how big your fingers are, I suppose.
Yeah, and the example underneath, you got a very delicate boxed. We got the same thing there, basically the same muffin within a delicate box. That if that was on a chiller cabinet or an ambient shelf, a display, part of grab. This is the theme now, isn't it? We're grabbing and going. We go on the till, very little communication, pay and go. We kind of know it's a muffin. Consumers quite happy that's a muffin in there, but that's packaged and they're off. And the only opportunity they're going to seek then to check the ingredients
is if there's a proper label on it.
On the label.
Oh, you want to talk about the...
What's in your grab bag, Rob?
What's in my grab bag? Don't know, I can't see over the counter. I've got my sandwich.
Right, okay. Now is this the sort of thing, see this a lot in schools?
Yes, so this is where we've got a mixture of items.
Right, okay.
Between fresh made this morning.
Fresh made sandwich.
Manufactured product.
Right, easy, got a label on it.
Yeah. Again, manufactured product.
Easy, got a label on it.
But,
But, okay.
I sell it.
Right.
It's a closed up package.
Right.
Packed lunch.
Yeah.
Grab and go snacks.
Right. Okay.
So we've now got a compounded issue.
Right. Yes.
In the fact that we've got some manufactured products.
Yeah.
We've got some PPDS, obviously, the sandwich.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant.
Where do we sit?
Where do we sit exactly? So I think there's a few trains of thought here. Number one is that think delicatessen. So child going to school, places an order at the tutor group meeting in the morning, which is quite commonplace as they sign in. Kids can then sometimes order their lunch for the day. They can opt for the packed lunch. They'll sometimes have a choice of it could be it could be just to the sandwich, so it's tuna, cheese, or ham.
That's where my thoughts were. That generally the only choice you get with picking this
is the filling,
the content of the sandwich.
The content of the sandwich. So there is that interaction there. That's delicatessen ordering process where that student is via the teacher, classroom teacher, goes to the kitchen, and then so long as there's an identification on that bag, the name of the student who's ordered that bag, or reference that's the ham choice that the students made, that could be perceived as that's a deli service, so that's pre-ordered. But interestingly, when you started to roll that bag over, then that's packaging. Then that is then.
I thought I'd throw that one.
Oh, really? That's like so. It depends on the context of that, because what you can have with those if you've got. Again, the coal counter, and you've got a sort of section of
how about
grab bag one, grab meal deal 1, 2,
meal
3.
Deal in a bag.
In a bag, it's ready to go. So again, we're grabbing this from the coal counter, very little oral communication with the till. Thank you very much. Pay, go. You need something on that to scrutinise what the ingredients are on there, and it could be that individual items within that bag.
Yeah. So people are then saying to me, well, there's only one item in there that's PPDS.
Yeah.
I get you're now telling me, because I've sealed it up and I'm selling it with that.
Yeah, now we'd say,
But 3 of the products are manufactured.
Yeah.
So the information's already on there, so why do I have to put it on the front as well?
Yes, yeah. Well, this is it. Does the labelling need to be on the single items in there? But it's creating that encasement, isn't it?
Yes.
So I think that's definitely something we need to check into the Q&A. I think that's more straightforward because it's the ordering principle. I think if people have done, and the same applies if it's, we're thinking mass catering here. It's a combination of preparing 3 different types of grab bag, because you know the customer base will either have tuna, cheese or chicken or ham. And so it's a bit controlled. And also what's important to mention within certainly like a primary school setting, the care and attention that the caterers, the school and the parents have to protect hypersensitive pupils is outstanding. Let's face it, that's one of the best, care, hospital, healthcare, education, the professional B&I catering setup. And I think since the beginning of the allergen regulations in 2014, I've always been acutely aware of this. So within that setting, you've got other measures to protect those customers. So there is an allergen or diet reference point for all the students that are affected by allergens in the school. So there would have been a control measure or several measures before that consumer gets a hold of that bag. So,
and again, we probably come back there to allergen management, HACCP plans, communication, empowerment, training.
Exactly, yes,
and you know, for all of these products, regardless of whether they need a label or they don't need a label. People are inquisitive. People are becoming more inquisitive about what's in their food. And it's, you know, the welfare and everything else. Sustainability. So giving staff the knowledge of the products, you know, it's invaluable. You know, and to be able to upsell as well, you know, in these environments, especially B&I environments. Education, not so much, I understand, you know, but catering as a whole, you know, it's supposed to be a pleasurable experience. So
absolutely. And so it's that we're taking everything to the next step on open transparency on what's in our products, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's all for the right reasons, which is to give that extra layer of protection to someone that is food hypersensitive. Also, it protects you as a business. If you've written that on a label and God forbid there's an issue, and you've got records of what that label was, and you're being contacted by some authority, and you can say, actually, we know it's on our label, it's on our product, that was certainly on that product, go into that.
And that's where automated systems help,
the business,
obviously.
And this is all building up to, and we're gonna come on to this shortly, I know, but this is all building up to how do we knock up those. You mentioned a little bit.
So how do we get the information from here? Onto a label.
Hang on,
goes on here
with a magnifying glass.
Yes,
and then get that into some kind of shape that that fits on a product. Here you go. Right. Okay. Right. Thankfully, granola, yogurt in there. So we've got some milk, yogurt, granola, which would be, is that granola or oats?
Yes, it's just granola.
Just granola. Just, pumpkin seeds, oats, pumpkin seeds,
etc.
So okay. Well, that won't be too much of a
and this is the problem as well, isn't it? Because we're now talking about a full ingredient declaration.
Yes, it's not just this contains milk. I mean, there's with that we've got wheat, maybe oats in there. So you've got wheat, oats, milk. You know, allergen. That'd be quite straightforward.
It would be if it was just allergens.
Yeah, exactly.
But, you know, there's freeze-dried strawberries in there. There's other things. So you're then saying just say that had a bit of honey on it as well.
Yeah. Okay.
So you've now got 3 component parts, all with their ingredients.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the size of your pot.
Yeah. Okay. So
you've got a minimum font size.
You'd literally have to have a surround sound label there from a very clever printer that can print off an inch sort of thick, you know, and to get that covered. It's difficult, and we understand it's difficult, and we're trying to help provide solutions, you know, for these particular problems. With you guys, and as we've said before, Rob, it's the whilst going through each of these scenarios, it's like, and again, it's not looking for loopholes, but what are we doing that we could ditch some of the packaging as well? Because we are, you know, within catering, we're always being plagued by everything. So waste management, so sustainability, packaging is the top one on the agenda.
It's the biggest one, but we've also got that hygiene element, haven't we? But especially, you know, like with the muffin here. You know, they're in a cold cabinet. Someone goes in, I don't actually like that one. That one's got a bit more toffee in it, so I'll have that one there.
So that wouldn't really work. For that to be consumer grab and go, I'd want that. And I'd want that on a counter, under a cloche, and I want a customer, I'll have that one, please. And I'd want to serve that from a protected environment. And actually, if I'm doing that, then onto a plate, that would be a loose food,
Yeah.
potentially with a bit of paper garnish, or if that's then naked, for want of a bit of catering phrase, then that's being served there. So that's a total control by the caterer. And you're right, if this was on, I know plenty of people will say to me is that the partial packaging thing, when it's for, go back to my same, there is no counter over there. Go to my counter, grab it, and get the label and pay. But actually, yeah, you're right. We do like to have a bit of a rummage in a retail setting.
I mean, obviously, it's
that
a good while since,
since
I've been in this environment and producing these goods and getting them wrapped and stuff. You know, I hold my hands up and, you know, things have moved on. But I remember the old crocodile heat sealer.
Yeah.
You know,
yes,
you get your little bit of packaging, your crocodile heat sealer, bump, excess packaging away.
Yeah, so your cellophane, crocodile sealer in there, and that there's no doubt then. That's
no
a
doubt
packaged product then. And if it's on your grab and go station there, and it's you consult that label at your leisure once you make that purchase.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have a session now on labeling.
On labels.